As we all know that, India attained partial independence on August 15, 1947, when it became a dominion, after the Indian Independence Act was passed in the British Parliament. But, 3 years later, in 1950, India finally attained complete independence on January 26, when it transformed itself into a republic, thereby abolishing the dominion status, by passing the Constitution of India in the Indian Parliament, which repealed the Indian Independence Act, and the Government of India Act of the British Parliament. But, do you know, that the Government of India Act and the Indian Independence Act, still remains as a proper law in the present-day British government? So what does it mean? Is India still a British colony? Let's find out. And yes, watch till the end, as the answer to this question will surely blow your mind. Let's go back to the time, when the Indian independence movement was at its peak, and the blood and sweat of our great freedom fighters forced the British government to free India. And thus, the Indian Independence Act was passed to provide partial independence to India. This act made India a dominion of the British Crown, under Mountbatten, the Governor-General of India. Being a dominion of the British Crown, the Governor-General of India was given many powers. For example, he had the power to amend the Act any time. He also had the power to divide territories. All these features of the Act was the proof of India's partial independence. Even though the Act clearly mentioned India as free and equal to Britain, but on the ground level, it was a mere transfer of power. This made our leaders to frame a constitution that would repel all these features and grant complete independence to India. Finally, 3 years after partial independence, the Constitution of India was passed, which under Article 395, repealed the Government of India Act, and the Indian Independence Act. This was a problem to the British government, because as per the Indian Constitution, India was no longer a dominion of the British Crown. Since India was now a completely independent nation, the British could not label India as its dominion. Therefore the British now needed a new word, to replace the word dominion, without affecting the underlying power. A word that would apply not just to India, but to all of its 52 newly formed dominions and ex-dominions. This new word was, the British Commonwealth. The British Commonwealth would be an intergovernmental organization of 52 member states, of former territories of the British Empire, which would operate by an intergovernmental consensus of the member states, organized through the Commonwealth Secretariat, and non-governmental organizations, organized through the Commonwealth Foundation, with the King of Britain as its head. In simple words, nations under the Commonwealth would share the King of Britain as its head of state and reigning constitutional monarch. A constitutional monarchy is a form of monarchy in which the sovereign state exercises their authorities in accordance with a written or unwritten constitution. What differs constitutional monarchy from absolute monarchy is that the constitutional monarchs are bound to exercise their powers and authorities within the limits prescribed within an established legal framework. Or in simple words, replace all the governor-generals with the king himself. A total of 16 nations, including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, accepted Britain's offer. The first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, was also very eager to make India a Commonwealth nation, but he faced heavy opposition from almost all Indian leaders. Ireland understood this clever plan. It was the first nation to not be a part of the Commonwealth, by becoming a republic. All Indian leaders also wanted India to do the same, that is, not to be a part of Commonwealth by becoming a republic. India was on its way of becoming a republic, and Nehru was determined to make India a Commonwealth nation. And thus Nehru came up with a plan. He went to London, and asked the British government to remove the word British from the British Commonwealth, and abolish the system of constitutional monarchy, thereby allowing republics to become a part of the Commonwealth. And thus, in the London Declaration of 1949, it was decided to accept Nehru's plan, and modify the British Commonwealth. And thus it was decided that, the nations who would accept the constitutional monarchy, will from now onwards be called as the Commonwealth Realms, while republics, and other nations, who refuse to accept the constitutional monarchy, will be grouped under the Commonwealth of Nations. But, the king will still remain, the head of both the Commonwealths. And thus, India became a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, and enjoys all of its privileges, which includes a Commonwealth citizenship. Which means that citizens of the Commonwealth nations are also a Commonwealth citizen, which, like any other citizens, have the right to vote in elections held in UK and other Commonwealth nations, if they allow to do so. This means that Indians can vote in UK elections, and in elections held in some other Commonwealth nations like Australia and New Zealand, provided they fulfill certain criteria set up by the host nations. But citizens of these nations cannot vote in Indian elections, as Indian law denies this right. Same rule applies in case of jobs, that is, as a Commonwealth citizen, Indians can apply for civil service jobs in these countries, while citizens of these countries cannot in India. This also means that, if an Indian needs consultation in a foreign country, from the Indian embassy, but the Indian embassy is not present, then as a Commonwealth citizen, you can seek help from the British embassy, or from the embassy of other Commonwealth nations, if they allow to do so. This is also the reason why all Commonwealth nations have high commissions, instead of embassy, in other Commonwealth nations. Other privileges includes free trade for all member nations, defense assistance under critical situations for Commonwealth nations, and military assistance for Commonwealth realms. Most of the Commonwealth nations also enjoy naturally friendly diplomatic relations among themselves. Thus, to conclude, India is an independent and sovereign republic, free from any foreign rule. But, India is also a part of the Commonwealth of Nations, with the king, which is currently Queen Elizabeth II, as the head. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do check out our other videos as well. Links to a few are on your screen. Please subscribe and do not forget to hit the like button. See you in another video. Thanks for watching.